Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for your 2023-2024 squad predictions. And listen, I'm going to get some right, some wrong, but it's a fun game to play. Join me in the comments down below. You can list out your keeps, you can list out your sells, you can list out your loans, your released, your recalls. I'm going to be going through the whole damn Chelsea team. It's a massive squad. So we ain't got no damn time to waste. We got to get straight into it. So let's talk business. Kepa. 2025, his contract runs out. We're going with the goalkeepers first. He's been playing a lot this season. He's got the highest save percentage in the league. And yes, I've got some questions about his cross collection in terms of his commanding. We saw that a little bit in glimpses against Leicester. But overall, his comeback is admirable. And of course, he's come from, a position of almost no return with that shocking season he had under Lampard to now where he can actually be given a run of games and perform. And like I said, he's kept a decent amount of clean sheets, highest save percentage. And I think Graham Potter clearly favours him now over Mendy, even though Mendy's been out, so it's hard to judge. But Mendy, maybe unfortunately catching that injury, hasn't had the opportunity to prove himself as much as he would have wanted under Graham Potter. I think Kepa's going to be kept. I'm going with a keep. Bettinelli now, contract runs out in 2023. I'm going with a release. I don't think there's a new contract coming for him, so I'm going to just keep it moving. In my opinion, he hasn't really played many games, and I just haven't really seen enough for a contract renewal. And it's mainly because Gaga, the American, and potentially very marketable goalkeeper, young, 2028, his contract. I think he'll be the new third choice. I think he'll be kept. He's been impressing in some reports in terms of coming to Cobham early, leaving late. He's been very, very motivated, playing in that PL2 team. I think he's going to be the new third choice goalkeeper next season. And that leaves me with Mendy. Contract also expires in 2025. Financially, more viable as a second choice because, of course, cheaper wages at 52k and cost a lot less. But I think he's actually going to be sold. Again, they're struggling with a contract renewal. I think he wants a lot more money than they're willing to pay him. And I think out of him and Kepa, even though he's the more financially viable goalkeeper to keep on a second, I do believe he's going to go. Now, cross collection, he's a lot stronger, much taller, in terms of his reach. And personally, like I said, financially viable, I think he makes more sense as a second choice, but he's not playing as much. He's now injured and he's not been featuring. So I think he's going to be going. That's my prediction. Now, Raya is my prediction to be brought in. Contract expires at 2024 at Brentford. Again, very good with his feet. Brilliant passing range. And second highest save percentage in the league to Kepa, who of course is top. And also in terms of cross collection, he's doubled 9.4% over Kepa's 4.3% in terms of crosses stopped when they come into the box, whether that's from corners, wide free kicks, or even wide, even crosses from wide areas. And Brentford do receive a hell of a lot more crosses than Chelsea in terms of crosses coming to the box. Brentford are having like almost double, if not more, crosses coming to the box than Chelsea in comparison. But he's just behind Martinez in terms of that second highest in the league. So yeah, for me, he's only 6 foot. Kepa's actually 6'1", but I do believe they're going to go with a Spaniard, just like Potter had with Sanchez at Brighton. I think he's going to go with Raya, and of course, I do believe that's a quite easy deal to get done. 2024. Probably on the cheap, not so expensive. I think that could get done. So that's the one I'm going for in the goalkeeper position. Now, moving to the defence. Badiashile, 2030, his contract. That is not even it's a non-negotiable. He's staying. He's being kept. Thiago Silva just got a new contract. He's being kept. Reece James, 2028. He's being kept. Koulibaly, his contract is until 2026. And if he keeps playing the way he's playing in the middle of that back three and, kind of reviving almost and having a resurgence of form in the latter part of the season, I think he's also nailed on to be kept as well, because he's only just signed from the summer and he's the only bit of experience you have after Silva goes maybe at the end of next season. So I think they'd want to retain and keep that experience. He's also on massive wages, around about the 300k mark, and he's only just joined. He's just settling down maybe potentially, and I don't think the market is great for a player in that age group with those wages. So 2026, I expect him to stay. Fofana, 2029, obviously new, just signed. Again, I expect him to stay. And obviously Gusto, 2030, he's going to be joining from Lyon. I expect him to stay. So let's get to the more interesting ones. Trevor Chalobah, 2028. Big contract, but I think he's going to be sold. I'm making that prediction. I think he's going to be sold. He doesn't play too often. I do believe that he's proven his point in terms of whenever given responsibility, he's taken it. He showed very good performances. I thought before the World Cup he was one of, if not our best centre-back in terms of consistency and performance. And I think he's going to be so low on that pecking order when some other players come back, what we're going to talk about, that I think he's going to be sold. We've seen little loose links to RB Leipzig, to Inter Milan, AC Milan maybe as well. There's clubs looking at him. He's very, very well renowned and he's very, very much wanted. And I think he's going to want more game time, especially if he wants to get into that England squad. He hasn't really been noticed by Southgate. I think he's going to be sold. And of course, we're going to be looking to bring in money. I've seen little flashes of maybe academy products will be sold to kind of fund more deals. So I think he's one of those that could potentially be on the way out. Azpilicueta contract runs out in 2024. I think he'll be sold. Again, probably very, very small amounts of money. Gusto's coming in. We've got James. He almost went to Barcelona. Probably a couple of million like Giroud. I think he'll be sold. Malang Sarr, people forget we have him. His contract until 2025. But I think they're going to sell him. I think they're going to find a way to get rid of him. And like I said, it probably won't be for loads of money. We only signed him, I think we signed him for free. So anything's profit. So again, I think he'll be sold. Ian Martson, 2024. I'm going to come with this crasher. You ain't going to like it. But my prediction is he will be sold. He's only got 1 year left. So unless he renews his contract for a longer period of time, he will not be loaned in his last year of his contract. So is he going to renew maybe as a young fullback with Chilwell? I'm going to say staying. I think Chilwell's going to stay 2025, his contract. He's really playing quite well towards the back end of the season. I'm going to say that Chilwell's going to be kept. So that means I think Ian Matson's going to be sold. I could have said loan, but like I said, it relies upon him signing a new contract. And a young fullback with so much potential, so much promise. We've seen it before with Tariq Lamptey. We've seen it before with Livramento. If they don't feel like they can have a viable way of getting in, as much as I would love to keep him because it makes sense as a second choice wing back in this formation. Cucurella obviously keeping in that back three or in back four. But I just don't think we're going to keep all these left footers. So my prediction is he's going to be sold and he's going to make us a decent amount of money as well. Baba Rahman, 2024, released. I don't even think you're going to get any money for this guy. I'm saying it's a release, all right? It's straight up release. He's at Reading. I have no idea what's going on. Got 1 year left. It's not going to cost too much, I don't think. Well, actually probably will. He's probably on about 100k a week. But I'm going with a release. And Lewis Hall, 2025, his contract as well. I'm going with a loan. Don't think there's too much space for him in the squad, considering who's coming in, who's coming out. But he could maybe stay with Ian Matson maybe leaving, but like I said, could be a loan as well for regular game time. I'm going to predict a loan. And Levi Colwill, because I think Lewis Hall can go into a Premier League team. I think he could definitely work some magic there. And Levi Colwill, I'm going to go over keep, 2025. He's gone to Brighton. Outstanding performance yesterday. I don't think we're going to go and get a Vardy or someone like that, even though we've seen the links. Levi Colwill, another left-footed centre-back, could even maybe play in the centre-back position, or maybe Badiashile. There's a lot of centre-backs that are left-footed that could move around in this position. There's a lot of competition there. 2025, enough years on the contract, a lot of promise, a lot of potential. I think the scouts and the staff behind the scenes will like him. He obviously joined Brighton when Potter was in charge as a loan, so I think he's going to like him. So I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to say that he's going to be kept. And obviously, like I said, Gusto's also going to be kept. Let's move to the midfield. Enzo Fernandez, 2031, keep, obviously. Kante looks like he's getting a new contract, so I'm going to predict that he's kept, even though his contract is running out this season. Ampadu, 2024, I'm predicting a sale. His contract runs out next season. Again, I don't really see the point of a renewal. There hasn't really been any real pathway for him to really make the team. Wasn't really featuring a lot enough in pre-seasons and doesn't ever look to be a real important mainstay in the future. And obviously we're tracking people in this position. I think he's going to go. Bakayoko, I think he's going to get released. 2024 contract. Again, they just want to get people off the books and 1 year left. You could loan, you could do whatever you want, but I think they could just release as well out of just a lack of patience to even get this deal done. There's going to be a lot of outgoings. You don't really want to waste time faffing around on deals like this, especially after what happened in January with the paperwork. Cover 2024. I think he's going to be kept. There's some reports saying, and that, those quotes will be in the scroll bar. There's some reports going out that a new contract is actually viable and is on the table. If he wants to stay, I want him to stay. I think he's a quality player. If he can get over those injury issues, similar to Kante, these guys, we already know what they can give us in terms of the highest level they can perform. So I'm going to say predict keep. Loftus-Cheek, his contract runs out in 2024. I'm going to predict that he is sold. I've seen some reports also that he's available for transfer. I think the big problem with Loftus-Cheek is that he's been playing really, really well now at right wing back when called upon. But because we have Gusto coming in and we've also got Reece James, there's now two players and the right competition and the right profile in that position, not Azpilicueta. And then when you move him back into midfield, you just know there's no room. Again, he always wants to stay. He always wants to stick around. He never causes a fuss. He's a brilliant, maybe squad player to have. But I think this is the season they're going to cash in. And I don't know how much money it's going to be, but I'm going to predict that he's sold. Mason Mount 2024, I'm also predicting a sale. This has been rumbling around for weeks and weeks and months. And again, they're having issues with the contract. They haven't come to any sort of agreement. There's interested clubs like Liverpool that I think will give him a starting role with no problem, and also maybe give him closer to the... I think it's not just about wage. We've seen 300k floating around. I believe that's completely untrue. I do believe it's about the length of the contract and the feeling of wanting to feel important and wanting to be a starter. He's used to being a starter, and understandably so. He's won Player of the Year the last 2 years. But I do believe that what he wants and feels he deserves, which I understand, and what Chelsea feel like they want to offer him in terms of his form and obviously bringing the wage bill down, I think it's not coming together. It's not meeting in the middle, and I'm going to predict that he is sold. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's to a Premier League rival, because I don't see him going abroad. Zakaria, I'm going to predict that he is not recalled, so he will be going back to Juventus. He's got a bit of an injury record. We've seen that at Chelsea. We haven't seen enough of him in terms of consistency playing. He's played actually decent, played pretty well when called upon, but we're not seeing it consistently because he's injury prone, and we're going to go for someone in this position, in my opinion. Santos 2030, out on loan in Brazil. I think he'll come back in the summer, hopefully get that work permanent, and yeah, I think we're obviously going to keep him. I would say loan, but I do think they want to keep him in-house, similar to a Foden at Man City, train him, coach him, get him, he's coming from South America, and we see it with Alvarez as well at Man City. Unless you've got a multi-club model to send him to Portugal or Spain and something, acclimatizing, kind of like a step before you get to the cold England. We don't have that yet. I think they're going to look to keep him. He looks really motivated to come here and start trying to break into the first team. We see a lot of promise from him. And I think the cup games, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, I think he'll be involved next season. I'm going to go over keep. I'm also going to go with a sell for Gallagher 2025, but I think he's going to get sold. And the reason why I think this is because even though he's happy like Loftus-Cheek to maybe be a squad player and to come off the bench and do his job and do his role, I do think there's going to be a money offer that comes in that Chelsea can't really turn down in the Newcastle, etc. And I think they're going to accept it. And I think he will potentially then say, okay, do you know what? I want regular minutes. I'm young. I almost broke into the England squad here and there. I think he actually has broken into it once or twice. I think he's going to potentially, if he gets a Newcastle, not an Everton, we saw it in the transfer window just gone, he almost left. And I think those knocks will be knocking again for his signature. And I don't think, again, I know I've seen him heavily involved, and obviously Mount, don't know if he was even injured against Leicester, more just keeping him out of the team for the contract situation, or maybe to keep him fresh for England. But I do believe once the gears start moving in the summer and people start coming in and out in this midfield area, I think he might be the one that leaves. Carney Chukwuemeka, I think he's going to stay 2028. I think that's going to be kept, and I think he'll start to maybe get some more minutes. And the new midfielder that I'm going to be saying that we sign is Lavia from Southampton. His contract is until 2027, so he's probably going to cost a bit. But the caveat as to why I think he's actually going to come in is because Southampton look like they're going to get relegated, and we know Joe Shields has got a great relationship with him, bringing him to Southampton from Manchester City, as he brought himself over from Man City to Southampton. Now he's come here, he rates the player highly, clearly. I think he's going to bring him to Chelsea, and he's going to be that new young player to put in midfield next to maybe Enzo, etc. You've got Kante, Kova, Santos, Carney. It sounds like I've sold a lot of players, but that's still 6 players that we've got in midfield that I've just named. That's a lot. That's quite a lot. We have an excess of players at the moment, and if we're not in the Champions League next season, maybe, I don't know, hopefully we're in Europe to some capacity, we're not going to need, we're never going to need 8 midfielders. We're never going to need 9. Bringing it down to something normal as 6 when you're potentially playing with 2 in a 3-4-3, max you're playing with 3 in a 4-3-3, that takes you to 6, 1 for each position. I know it sounds crazy that I'm selling all these players, but it makes sense from a squad depth standpoint in terms of healthy competition. But it's quite a young midfield, I must say. Going up to the forwards now. This is where it gets sticky icky, ladies and gentlemen. Aubameyang 2024, I'm saying that he's going to be sold. Could go to America, could go to Saudi, could go to any maybe top 5 European league as well. He could have gone to an American team, I believe, after the January transfer window, but he's probably holding out for a big European team. I don't think they're going to ask for too much money. They didn't spend too much money on him. I think he's going to be sold. Pulisic, I think, is going to be sold as well. We know that his dad is kind of always in the background making those noises in terms of games, minutes played, and not really getting the starts that maybe he needs for his own development. I think he's been here long enough. I rate the player to a degree. I do think he's got some talent about him, but the inconsistency with the injuries doesn't help. And of course, Chelsea are now moving in another direction with all these new attackers coming in. I think he's going to get sold. Felix. You know how much I like Felix. He's on loan, but I'm going to say in my prediction, his contract at Atletico is until 2027. I'm going to say that he does not get recalled. I'm going to say that he does not get purchased. It could be a high fee, 100 million probably minimum is what Atletico are going to look for. His contract is a lot longer. We know he signed a new contract before he came here. That was part of the bargaining deal to let him go out on loan in the first place. I just think that Chelsea are not in the end going to go and buy him. His form could be ridiculous to the end of the season. I hope it is. I really like the player. Maybe that will, turn some heads. But for now, I'm going to say that we don't buy him for that amount of money. If the asking fee was lower, maybe it could get done. But I'm going to say that we don't buy him. Hudson-Odoi, contract runs out in 2024. Another one I'm going to say for a sale as well. Again, part of that Cobham existing group that have said that maybe some sales will happen to raise some funds. I think he's very much part of that. He's only got 1 year left. He has not been playing for us. He's been on loan at Bayer Leverkusen and struggling, and I don't really see any space for him in the team with all of these new additions. Sterling, 2027, definite keep, 100%. Don't even feel like I need to really explain that. His wealth of experience and professionalism is needed in that attack. Broja, 2028, big new contract. I'm going to say that Chelsea actually keep him at the club. I know he's had a massive injury. That probably will go on throughout the summer. And he'll probably I don't know when he'll return to fitness, but I don't think the first thing they're going to do when he returns to fitness is send him away to another medical team at another club to look after him. I think they're going to want to look at his recovery, his rehabilitation, and watch him closely at Cobham. So I'm going to say that he's kept. He got a massive new contract, and I think we're maybe forgetting on some of the, hype and thrill that he was given when he first broke into the team. Performances away to Brentford, his first goal at Stamford Bridge. I think there's something there. I don't think he's going to become a starter, because we're always going for that flashy new big number 9. It's just in Chelsea's DNA, even under Roman with Torres and Shevchenko. But he could be a squad player in the future. I'm going to say that he's going to be kept. Nkuku's coming in, of course. I don't know what his contract length is because it's not been announced, but he's going to be kept. Of course, he's only just coming in. Ziyech, 2025, I'm going to be saying is sold. He almost left to PSG, so his exit is literally around the corner. Datro Fofana, I'm going to say is loaned. He was almost loaned towards the back end of the January transfer window. Again, the paperwork fell through. I'm going to say that he's loaned. Havertz, 2025, I'm going to say that he's actually kept. I think Potter seems to love him. He seems to love Potter. There's something in brewing there, and he seems to be getting the best out of him at the moment. Now, Felix, he seems to really enjoy playing with, and this is what kind of breaks my heart a little bit, is that if Felix performs really well to the end of the season and Kai has a great chemistry with him, I don't really want to rip that up, because now we're starting to see that Kai is playing some games really well in the last couple of matches. We might actually get the Kai that we all thought we were going to get when we invested all of that money. And I've not seen any links away also. Bayern Munich have kind of shut the door, so I do think he's going to be kept. That's my prediction. But if he enjoys playing with Felix, I kind of want to keep that. But like I said, we'll see what happens. Maybe Nkuku will strike up a similar relationship. Madueke, 2030, kept. Obviously, Mudryk, long contract as well. 2030, kept. I don't know if I already said that. Lukaku, 2026 contract. That is so long, so long. I think it's going to be a loan. He's had a poor season at Inter Milan, physically not being fit. Physically fit, no. Madagascar? No fitness. So for me, another loan. I don't want us to keep him. I don't think we're going to keep him, because I do think we're going to get a new big number 9, and I'm going to say who I think that will be. So I think he doesn't want to be here. We don't want him here. I think he's going to go on loan again, and God knows how much of that salary will be covered, etc. But selling him with that length of contract left, with that wage that he's on, and due to his performances this season where he's not even starting for Inter Milan, I don't think anybody's going to buy him. And the prediction for who I think we're going to buy up front is Victor Osimhen from Napoli. His contract expires in 2025. He wants to come to the Premier League badly. I don't think he's going to sign a new contract. I don't think they're going to let KK and Osimhen go in the same summer. So I think it will be Osimhen that goes. KK's on a much longer contract at Napoli and is obviously having an outstanding season. He's the leading goal scorer, Osimhen, in Serie A with 19 goals. Chelsea are looking at a number 9. Tony is going to get a ban for betting. I just think that this is actually going to happen. I'm going to put my prediction out there, and Saeed already gave it the must-watch eyes on the watch-along, and you know when he did that with Felix, we ended up getting Felix. So I'm just going to say Saeed tax, we're getting Victor Osimhen. So that is my prediction for the entire Chelsea squad. 3 new additions. I didn't want to go too crazy with the additions because I don't think we need to go crazy with the additions. We've signed a lot of players, and we also, as well, have a lot of selling to do, in my opinion. We need to trim that squad down. So I've gone with 3 new additions, and yeah, we've got a lot of defenders, and we need a sitter, and we probably need a striker. We got a lot of attackers, a lot of wingers. So that's my prediction for the squad for 2023-2024. I don't like all of the predictions. I want us to keep Ian Maatsen. I don't mind us keeping certain players that I've said sold, but I'm just putting predictions out there for what I think is going to happen, not necessarily what I want to happen. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Give me your predictions. You can do the whole squad. If I did the whole squad, you can go and give it a go. It's a lot of names. Give it a go. I have gone with literally everyone, including the loanees. Yeah, it's just a madness. So if you want to give it a go, it's a lot of typing in the comments. Feel free. If you want to just go with sales, just keeps, just loans, do what you wish. But let me know in the comments. I really want to know what you guys think. This is a prediction, by the way, not what you want, what you predict. Or you can go with what you want, but just make it clear. Smash up the likes, smash up the subscribes, and I will see you guys next time in a bit, people. Peace.